Hey everybody, JacqBean here, ready to give you a review on The Walking Dead episode 23, Family. We're really getting down to the end now. Next week's episode is the finale, and it'll be done. It's going to be interesting to see how they're going to close out The Walking Dead and how they're going to bring forth the Easter eggs for the new series that are going to come up. So let's get into this review. Judith started off today's episode by talking about her family, this family that has always protected each other by any means, and how they are getting ready to fight for something that's different, something bigger. They're fighting for a new beginning. So she's absolutely foreshadowing that we're going to have a big fight with Pamela. It's time to let her go. It's time to get rid of her. And that we're going to lose lives, because that's what happens when we fight the large fights. And one of the things that they showed during her talking about it comes at a cost of lives, of course, is it showed pictures of folks like Aaron, Jerry, Lydia, Eugene, Yumiko, and they even showed Daryl and Carol. But I have to believe in my heart that these two folks are going to make it through the end. Well, especially Daryl, because he's going to move on to his new show. And although Melissa McBride decided that she didn't want to do the show with him, the world needs Carol. The episode starts with Judith getting prepared to leave. Not sure where she's going yet, but she puts on her sword. She takes her gun and puts it in her holster. And she talks about the fact that she never met Lori, and that Carl was a person that wanted to live in peace. She talked about Michonne wanting to put down her katana, and even with Rick searching for mercy out there in the world, searching for a good place for him to be able to raise his children and all the other children of the community in a place where it's peaceful. Judith is a Grimes as well, and this may be her deciding to find her place. Where does she fit in with all the other Grimeses that all seem to have a purpose in what they wanted for the world? She also added a couple of things to her bag. One was the community rights document that they had all signed, and the other was a picture, and it seemed like it was a picture that RJ made. At this point, RJ comes in the room, and Judith walks over and places the hat that has been passed down from Officer Friendly to Carl to Judith and now to RJ, and ends this scene by saying, "Everything changes today." So everybody is getting prepared to go to the Commonwealth. And you see Rosita just come walking by. She is so angry. She is yelling at people. She just wants to go. She needs to get to the Commonwealth. She needs to find out where Coco would be, where they had stashed her. Gabe was talking to, I believe it was Tyler, to say, where would they put children? He knows that there's a place, but he doesn't know where it is. And so Gabe asks him to find it, to try to find out. So Maggie is at the bus putting away supplies, and then Negan comes from the side, and more or less he was saying to her that we don't need to take all of these people to go and get Pamela. We're not going to be okay unless she is dead. You and I can do that. Let us go and do it. Maggie pretty much was like, there is no us. You see Daryl and Carol sitting outside with RJ. It looks like they're getting ready to go to the Commonwealth with everyone else. Judith wants to go with them to the Commonwealth. She wants to help fight. She wants to be able to participate in what her family would do, what Carl wanted, what Michonne and Rick did to try to have a place that's safe for everyone. Daryl lets her come, but says that she needs to stay close to him at all times. And she said she'd do that. But I keep thinking, this is Carl's sister, and he never listened to anything his adults had to say, except for Michonne. So you have Yumiko and Max sitting in an apartment, it seems like they're kind of locked in, like they can't leave because they're just kind of sitting there. And there's a knock at the door, and it's Mercer, and he brings Eugene into the room. Mercer wants everybody to lay low before they try to get them out of the Commonwealth. But Yumiko and Max kind of feel like they have the people are at a point. They're riled up. Maybe we can get them to revolt. And at this point, Mercer was more like, even if we got them to revolt, I need to get more troops on our side. So you leave out of here and you keep them riled up. And what I'll do is look for more troops to be on our side against Pamela. And at that point, one of his troops comes in on a call from Pamela, who is livid that Eugene has escaped and wants Mercer to come in. So now we see a family on the train. So it looks like they took a bus to get onto the train, and they're riding the train back into the Commonwealth. Well, you see Rosita putting together a plan on how they can get to the children's house and rescue Coco. And it seems really weird. I'm sure that there must be other children that are missing as well, but RJ and Judith and Jerry's children seem to still be around. You also see Princess and Tyler trying to put together a makeshift antenna. She's looking for a way to contact Mercer. So Mercer is in the room with the trooper that kind of is Pamela's bodyguard, the black guard. I can't remember her name offhand, but he's in the room with her. And of course, Pamela's like, what do you mean? How did you lose, Eugene? And he's like, I don't know, but he must have had some help. And then I feel like he's effing with her too, because he's kind of like, well, the people are really upset about the verdict. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get any help from them, or stuff like, well, people have gone missing from the Commonwealth and I don't really know. We don't really have any answers to that kind of thing. And, Pamela's like, pretty much shut up, but she's just like, just do your job, Mercer, But then when Mercer leaves the room, she tells that trooper that is, kind of like her bodyguard, to look at him, to watch over him. So she's kind of suspicious about him. Inside, she knows that he has had something to do with Eugene's escape. We move on to the herd. If you remember from last episode, Aaron and Jerry and Lydia, Elijah, and I believe it was Luke and Jules. They are all caught up in the herd. At this point, it doesn't even seem like the guards in the trucks are looking for them. It just really feels like they're trying to move this herd. And our group was just trying to get out of it. They actually saw an opportunity where they could just get out of the herd, kind of walk into the woods. However, then another trooper came up on a motorcycle, and there was a herd of people behind him, so they had to keep the same path. They were not able to get out of it. So then you see that it's looking like a huge herd of walkers are in line, following the troopers in their cars, going towards the Commonwealth. So we go back to the train, and in the car is Ezekiel, Negan, and Maggie. But Negan thanks Ezekiel for what he did. He thanks her for standing in front of them and asks him, why did he do it? And Ezekiel was just like, to be a martyr is easy. But to continue doing things, positive things, to make up for things that you've done is the right way to go. That's the best way to show that. And he didn't want to be a person that was bitter for whatever time he had left. There's so much that happened to him, and he's still here. Negan then talks about wanting to change the narrative that his wife and kid will get about him. He wants to show that he did something for people to be okay, not for anything for himself, because he wanted to do the right thing for them. And he goes on to say that he knows that he's not better than them, but he is trying, and that if they're not seeing that, then they're not looking. And you can see as Maggie goes into some contemplation about what Negan was saying. So Mercer is in the room kind of doing his interrogations, and he was talking to Yumiko. And then he got a call from Aurora, and I did that with air quotes, but it was Princess. and she just wanted to kind of see if he was an ally and if there was a place that he could tell them that they could go to in order to get into the Commonwealth with stealth. So we're back to the herd with Aaron and his group. So Aaron is seeing a trailer and he's telling everybody just to move towards the trailer. He was able to get in. Jerry was able to get in. Lydia was able to get in. But as others were walking, there was just so many on the herd, it was pushing them. So, for example, Jules was trying to back up a little bit to get in there, but he kept pushing her forward. He kept pulling Luke forward as well. But he could have probably gotten into the trailer if he kind of held on to Jerry's arm. But I think he just kept going so that he could be out there with Jules. He didn't want to leave her by herself. And then Elijah went to walk by and he was getting pushed ahead. But Lydia, trying to save Elijah, put her hands out to kind of grab hold of him, and she got bit. So you know what they have to do. They pulled Lydia back into the trailer, and even though she just wanted to go out and get Elijah, she didn't want to lose him. They were like, you know what we have to do. And Jerry took a large knife and cut off her arm. When she starts to wake up, her arm is all bandaged, she's falling in and out of sleep because how traumatic is that? But she still wants to get out no matter what to go and find Elijah. And Jerry told her that he'd do it. So we got Jerry going out there. The trailer that they were in is all surrounded by walkers because when Lydia was bit, there was a lot of blood, and a lot of blood brings in more walkers. So Jerry leaves to go out and find Elijah, and of course my whole heart stopped because I want him to be okay. So Daryl, Carol, and the team were at the meeting place where Mercer told them to go, but he isn't there. And we know that he isn't there because there's a swarm that's coming through and he has to work on that. But he had asked Max if Yumiko and her could go and at least meet them there and get them safely into the Commonwealth. So as they were trying to figure out what it was that they needed to do, we see that the guards that were there get a call that says, listen, Mercer needs you to help with an incoming swarm, and then the guards leave. So they have an open way to get inside the tunnel. So Pamela gets some information from her spy, who I find out her name is Vickers. The person that bodyguards Pamela's name is Vickers. So she gets a call from her, and she's just kind of letting her know that that Mercer is, putting the group together, that he pulled some of the people from other spots to come in and help with the horde, and she wanted to know from where. She let her know it was from that tunnel position, and Pamela is looking up. Her brain is going. She knows that something has to be going on, that he would take people from that tunnel. That tunnel leads into the Commonwealth. But she told her, don't worry about it. I'm sure that Mercer knows what he's doing. And then we see Mercer where he is on a perch and he's looking over the land just to see what's coming. One of the trucks that's being followed by the herd, they're just not paying attention. Of course, they think it's just the old, slow walkers. And these walkers are just so much smarter. This one walker broke off and actually got on the vehicle and started to eat the driver and the passenger. It was going to slow them down so that all of them could get on and they could start to devour them as well. Mercer saw that and he's just kind of running to see what he can do to be helpful. Vickers comes up and arrests Mercer for treason. Mercer is letting her know this is something different out there. You have to pay attention, make sure you're doing what's right for the community and for the people. Don't be fooled by what Pamela is talking about, but they take him off. So Daryl and the team make their way to, I believe, the Commonwealth's municipal building, the building where they meet, where Pamela's office is. And it's really weird. It's very eerie because no one's there. And so they're kind of going through, they're looking, and what Daryl realizes is that the doors have chains. And Daryl knows that it's a trap. He starts to tell everybody to get down. All of a sudden, all of these really plain clothes people come out and they start shooting. And we're going back and forth with them, shooting. No bullets have hit any of the major characters as of yet. And then we see Pamela come out and she takes the gun and she starts shooting and stuff. And she gets Maggie, just like she can see her, and she's going to shoot her. And of course, who jumps out there? Judith does. Pamela shoots Judith. And of course, Daryl has absolutely lost his mind. He's there with her, beside her, trying to get her to wake up. And the camera turns to Pamela, who is mortified that she shot Judith. But of course, what she does and blames it on them. See, this is your fault. It's, like she's telling them it's their fault that Judith ended up getting shot. So now they have to go. They have to try to get her to some place where someone can see her, where we can fix our Judith. And so he gets Ezekiel to throw a fire extinguisher, and then Daryl shot it, putting a whole bunch of cloudiness into the air so that they could get themselves out of that room. So they turn back to the gate where the troopers are standing outside trying to protect the door going into the Commonwealth, and they start to see the walkers are climbing up the ladder. They're climbing the walls to get in there. There's nothing that they're going to be able to do about it. One of the troopers standing at the top of the perch didn't even see the walker kind of climbing up, and he bit him right in the neck, and he ended up, because he was just trying to struggle, he ended up opening the gate into the Commonwealth. So Vickers went in to let Pamela know what was going on, that the walkers are climbing the wall, that they've lost so many troopers, and they've lost civilians as well. And, she's like, well, this was just supposed to be standard. We were just supposed to, do a lockdown and just and clear the swarm. But then she told her, just protect the estates. Divert all of the walkers to the lower areas. And even Vickers was like, yeah, but that's a death warrant to those people. And she was like, we take care of the estates, give me extra guards around my house, and this is what we're going to do, and this is how it's done. So Vickers got to see what Mercer was trying to tell her in the first place. So at this point, all of our team is together. So Daryl and all the people that came from Alexandria. We also have Yumiko, Max, and Eugene. Everybody's together. Daryl is holding Judith. We're trying to go and find the clinic to get Judith care. As they were running almost down an alleyway or a street, they start to see the trucks that the troopers from the Commonwealth drive kind of coming around, and they're thinking that, oh my God, we got to run this way. We got to kind of go this way. But what they didn't realize is that those troopers were trying to close them in to this space, close them down into the lower wards where they are trapped in there with these walkers. Everywhere they go, they're trapped. And our guys, they can take on any herd until they realize that this herd, they're climbing stuff. They can move stuff. Even Negan is like, what in the world is going on? So they create a path for Daryl to take Judith, who is still in his arms, and go to the clinic. The crazy thing is that as Daryl starts to run up that street or that alley to get to the clinic, you can't see our folks anymore. It's like the walkers have surrounded them. And that was really scary. But as Daryl is running to the clinic, Judith opens her eyes, and then she says, "Daddy?" And that Daryl is just doing as much as he can to get her there. He's going to make sure that she's okay. And that is how it ended. This situation definitely reminded me of when Rick was carrying Carl, trying to get to Herschel's, trying to get to a place where he could be okay, where he could get him the kind of help that he would need, or at least somebody that could help him. And this is exactly how Daryl is trying to get help for Judith. I know I say it about all the episodes, but this one was really unbelievable. It may have been a 45-minute episode, I swear it seemed like it was only 10 minutes because you were just looking at everything. Everything was just going so fast. All this really great stuff happening. So we have 2 weeks before the final episode. And this episode really left a lot open to think about. Where is Jerry? So in the end, everybody kind of got together. Luke and Jude found their way through that herd to meet up with the rest of the folks from Alexandria. But where is Elijah and Jerry? Where will we be able to get Aaron and Lydia out of that trailer? She's definitely not in any position to be able to be moved. And the trailer is surrounded by walkers that are pretty smart. So are they going to start opening the doors? Will our folks from Alexandria be able to get out of that mess with that horde? Something tells me that that's not going to be too much of a problem. They get away in enough time to find Coco? Or will my Rosita just lose her whole entire mind? And finally, will Daryl be able to get some help for Judith? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. What are you most concerned about? Is there anyone you think won't make it? I'd love to know. If you've been enjoying the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications so that you know when I post the next one. I look forward to seeing you next time.